Today I am here to do a Bout of Books 9.0 wrap up for you guys. I just want to talk to you about the 7 books that I read. Of course, the first one was Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen. So this book is about a girl named Ruby, and her mom is pretty terrible. Basically, they live in squalor all the time. They live in unideal conditions, and then one day her mother just up and leaves her completely. And of course, this eventually catches up to her and people find out, and she is forced to move in with her older sister. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It was powerful. It was one of my favorite Sarah Dessen books. I would have to contribute that to the fact that it's so different. It's not really the girl who needs saving by the token guy, but it's kind of the other way around. The guy is the one who's hesitant to let Ruby in. It was one of my favorites in the past, and it remains one of my favorites now. On that first day, I also started Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. This is a book about a girl named Auden whose parents are divorced. Auden lives with her mother, but her mother's a strong intellectual woman, like she's a professor. She's very opinionated and all that, so Auden wants a break from that. So she goes to visit her dad and his new wife and their new daughter. So one of the side effects of the divorce is that Auden has kind of become a little bit of an insomniac. She meets another insomniac named Eli, and late night adventures ensue. So I gave Along for the Ride 4 out of 5 stars as well. This is the first time I've reread this book since high school, and I remember loving it, and I still loved it now. I took off the star because while I really love this, and while every Sarah Dessen book is different in its own way, I think reading one a month for the Sarah Dessen book club has really opened my eyes to the parallels in Sarah Dessen's books. You can really tell, because the one thing that bothered me about this book a lot was that in some ways, to a T, it follows like the Sarah Dessen formula. When the story reached the climax, I didn't really know if it was something that Auden would genuinely do as a character, but it was still amazing, and it was still a lot of fun to read. Also, during day 2, I read this book in its entirety, and that is The X Games by Jennifer Eccles. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. I really didn't like it. As I've said in videos past, The X Games is about 2 characters, Nick and Hayden. They dated when they were in middle school. There's a little bit of sexual tension there, and they're both really good snowboarders. Hayden wins an all-girls competition, and Nick just can't be okay with that. So he challenges her to a one-on-one snowboarding competition. This happens all the time with Jennifer Eccles. I love one of her books. I hate the other one. And it's mostly for this reason, because she makes the guys jerks. I don't like romantic interests who treat their female romantic opposites without respect. I don't think that's sexy. I just think that's stupid. So I could not in good conscience root for Hayden and Nick to get together, because their entire basis of attraction was that age-old myth, and that is, if a guy likes you, he will make fun of you. There's just so many things fundamentally wrong about that, and it was just perpetuated continuously. If you want to read more about that, of course I will link my full Goodreads review in the down bar. On day 3 of the read-a-thon, I read Sisters Chicas by Lisa Alvarado, Anne Hagman Cardinal, and Jane Alberdestan Corralin. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. I really loved this book. The main catalyst in this book is that one of the main characters is turning 15, so she's having her quinceañera. And so there's just all this family drama, and there's also, each one of them has their own love problems. It was written so authentically, and I could really identify with every single one of the girls. And the language was rich, and it also infused like Hispanic phrases in it, which I love those because they just roll off the tongue. It was a pleasure and an honor to read. I loved every single minute of it. It just felt so good to read. And then also day 3, I started The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. I actually did not finish this book until day 5, because as you can see, by day 3 I had already finished 4 of my 5 planned TBR books. So I took Thursday easy, because you know what, I can. I believe I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was crazy awesome. This book is about a character named Mateo Alacran, who is a clone. There's just so many things against clones in this society because of like their origins and because they're not naturally conceived. People see them differently and treat them differently as if they were animals. It's about Matt trying to understand where he came from and his existence. Also him trying to break free from the prison that is the Alacran estate. I absolutely love ethical and moral commentaries, and this is definitely one of those. I don't think she intended for there to be a sequel to this book, but there is one, so I think that's really cool because I like where this book ended, but I'm also really excited to start the next one. On day 5, after I finished The House of the Scorpion, I started Tigerlily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I gave Tigerlily 4.5 out of 5 stars as well. Tigerlily is a fairy tale retelling of Peter Pan. It tells the untold story of Tigerlily, which, as you may know from the Disney movies and such, she's kind of cast a little bit as sort of a romantic interest for Peter Pan, but you never know what's going on there. So the book tells you about Tigerlily and Peter Pan falling in love. It was just incredibly beautiful and written so well, so poetically. I also am doing a video review about it. I will link that as well in the down bar. I really talk more about it, and I think you guys will like it. I'm really proud of that review. Then on day 7, the final day of the read-a-thon, I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I believe I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. It was amazing. It was not what I expected. It's a story about a man who is attending his old hometown for a funeral. Before the funeral reception, he wanders back to his old home and he goes down the lane to an old friend's house. As he's sitting there on the bench by the pond, all these memories come flooding back about things that happened in his childhood, these fantastical, supernatural things. I just love everything that Neil Gaiman writes because he embodies what is the best part of fantasy, and that is that authors go the furthest away from reality to tap into the most realistic and relatable things about real life. So those are the 7 books that I read during the Bout of Books 9.0 read-a-thon, and in case you were wondering, my page count over the course of the 7 days was 2,086 pages, which is insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for lending me your ears for a few minutes, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye!